listening to the Dead Man's Tone podcast, a show that's broadcast live in the nutsack, the ball sack of America. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. The guest tonight is Paul Lubaczewski. How you doing, man?
Hey.
I hope you're doing all right down there in... wait, you're not in Florida? So how did you write a story about Florida Man? Florida Man and the cult of the Gator God.
I spent a year suffering through Florida. I have memories.
You spent a year, you spent a lifetime down there. So, wait, only a year? Like, were you chased out or something? What happened?
Very simple. A year of it. We saw this house come up for sale in Appalachia, and we ran like hell.
Okay. Well, is there a story behind that?
Well, I mean, it's just, I thought I could live anywhere, and I had lived all over the country, and it turned out I hadn't met Florida yet.
Wow, that one did it. That one did it. Last time you were on was the tail end of the 24-hour show, and I was so tired. That interview, that conversation was like horrible. I was on life support. The caffeine was not working anymore.
Well, it was actually a humorous experience, so, I mean, it was fun.
Yeah,
Well, for me, it was. I wasn't the one that was still up after all those hours.
Afterwards, I pretty much crashed. I crashed in bed, and I was gone for a whole day, essentially. And afterwards, I think I went to a lesbian wedding, which was great. I loved it because they had like free beer. I had a whole boat of free beer.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm. I was like, fantastic.
You survived your ordeal, and as a gift for staying up 24 for some odd hours, you got free beer.
Free beer, that's right. And it got a weird experience too, because that lesbian wedding, that side of the family, very conservative, very redneck. I was like, you know what? This puts perspective on life. I mean, these guys are Trump guys, and the lesbian wedding. All right. It is what it is. I learned something new that day.
I think for a lot of people, everybody has prejudices until it's your baby.
Right. And hopefully that's a learning moment that lasts, Anyway, so for those who don't know who you are, Paul, who are you and what do you do?
I'm an author. My first novel was I Never Eat Cheesesteak on 50/50 Press.
I don't
since
eat that
then,
either. I don't eat cheesesteak either. It's horrible. It's garbage.
Well, it's only good actually in Philadelphia. Anything outside it, you get too far out, they can't get the rolls right. They don't do it right. It's gross.
Yeah, nasty stuff.
But
I'll eat bull balls, but I won't eat that.
Oh, I love in the city. I love cheesesteak. It's one of my favorite foods. Outside of the city, and it gets worse depending on what they call it. If they call it a Philly, it's inedible. That's not even food.
No.
No, I see. It's a Philly. No, it isn't. And you should stop that right now. And whatever you're doing back there, it's not food. Knock it off.
That's probably why. I don't eat it, because I've never actually had the real stuff. I've always had the fake cheesesteak, So that's why.
I think if you ask anybody who's actually from the city, there's like a radius where you could still get it, and then after that. No, bad. And whatever Subway is doing, they should really quit it.
Well, they made a lot of mistakes. One, having a pedo as the spokesperson long before, but they didn't know, I guess.
I would like to think they didn't know. That is my dearest hope, is that they were as surprised as anybody else.
Yeah, they were surprised. Anyway, I cut you off of some digression, which happens on the show. That's kind of like the flavor of it, kind of what keeps it interesting.
No prob.
I understand you got a new book out and a new book coming out, right?
Yep.
A New Life, and then The Cult of the Gator God.
Yep. New Life is a novella. It's on St. Rooster Press. That is like that's just a straight horror book. Well, if anything, it's like a straight urban horror book. And then Cult of the Gator God, a return to horror comedy with a suitable topic, Florida.
which we'll be talking about plenty today. That and Gator God. But let's touch up on a little bit on A New Life. I just kind of skimmed over that a little bit, read some of the reviews on it. So tell us about that.
Well, it's funny. I started writing just an urban book, and then like an urban drama, and then a horror movie broke out, like just accidentally. I actually had time living on the streets for a while in Philly. Like, I wanted to write about that because, no offense to anyone, but like a lot of people write about things they have no life experience with, and when you have life experience with, it always gives you this little no, it's not like that at all.
Ooh, yeah.
And I wanted to kind of write from that perspective. And then just as I was going, like, an idea for a horror story that ran with it came to me. So it's just like, I'm writing it, so it doesn't have to stay in any genre it doesn't want to.
Right. And you're right about that. When you write about something that you haven't really experienced, it can come across. But people who've actually experienced that can definitely tell. Like, if you write like a military espionage story, never spent a day in the military, never talked to anybody in the military, and a military guy reads it, they're probably going to put it down because it's like, what is this crap? That's not what happens, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. It's like that's a big one. I'm working on the punk book I said I would never write, but it's like reading so many other people's books about like the punk scene back in this day and back in that day. Well, I was a punk rocker back in that day, and it didn't happen that way, and it just eventually I broke, and I wrote the book.
You wrote the book. Okay. And what was that like?
That was, I think, like, I'm in revisions now, and I really didn't want to write it, and I could feel like I didn't want to write it the whole way, but at the same time, it was just like, it was compelling to write, but at the same time, you're like digging up memories and stuff, and hey, they're not all pleasant.
Right.
And that one's a full-length novel where, like, A New Life is a novella, and you can get through that a lot quicker. So it's like you don't have to dwell on it. Where, like, if you're working on, like, something that's going to go over 100,000 words, you're spending a long time with it.
Right, and that's one thing I remember reading in even your foreword. It was that this book kind of touches on life experiences. It kind of draws on that experiences you didn't really want to remember again. I take it that's the living on the streets thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think anybody that's ever been homeless who gets off the streets like views that as a pleasant time of their life. I mean, there may be a couple of happy memories or a couple of funny ones, but overall, once you get to like have a life, a house and wife and all that stuff, you just kind of want to really put that away. But at the same time, you should allow yourself, I think, as a person to like work through what you still have as baggage through your writing. I mean, it's cathartic for the person writing, because it's like, you know what, now I'm done with it. I put it away.
So the process of going through that is therapeutic in a way?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like once I put all the mental effort into writing a book about something like that, then I'm done with it. Yeah. I mean, I've lived with it, rather than avoid it. Like, most people, bad memories, you put them away and you just leave them go. You have to confront them in that format, and then by the time you've gone through it, you've spent all the time with it, you feel kind of done with it.
And that's good, right? I mean, you process the emotions, you go through the memories, and then it's put away. It's locked away. I mean, that's one benefit that you get with writing. I guess with other art styles as well. I mean, as painting, and I don't know. I'm not a painter. But I just imagine if you weren't a writer, that those memories had to stay with you. Like, what would that be like?
It's funny. I've always written, but like since I've turned to fiction, I love the fact that I can work my way through any little boogums I still had in my system. It's cheaper than therapy.
Yeah, right. A lot cheaper. Okay, so, where do you want to start with your experience on the street? I mean, I don't know if you want to share any of those moments, or I'll leave that up to you.
I mean, there's that's the I think that the one takeaway I would love people to walk away with is to remember that somebody who is in that situation never wanted to be there, and things just went wrong.
Right.
And there's still a person in there. I mean, mind you, you run into people that have been on the streets for a while who are a lot less of the person that they could have been. Mm-hmm. It diminishes, because I mean, the entire time you're doing that, you're just hustling to survive. Right. It's all about a safe place to put your head down. It's all about trying to get food in your stomach, which place you can get what, where, when, and it's your life is 24-hour survival, and that's what you do.
How long are we talking about?
On and off for about 3 years.
All right. Okay. And often the cliche, or the you probably have heard it all, right? People be like, "Oh, they're on the street. Go get a job." Things like that. It's like, what do you think about stuff like that?
Well, the one thing you find out really quick is you need an address to get a job.
Right. You need an address, and you need to be clean. You need to take a shower, and you need it's so complicated.
That's the thing. You need that little head start that we all take for granted. That you have your driver's license, you have a place to get a shower, you have an address to put down, and that's all stuff you take for granted. But honestly, when you don't have it, you find out that you need your driver's license, you need a place to get a shower, you need a place to get put down as an address, and it's like mm-hmm. you never even consider it most days. It's it's just that's where I live, and showers in there, and there's clean clothes, and that's life.
Right. Okay. And you're right about that. You get that little, a starter pack. A starter pack when you're living with mom and dad or what have you. Maybe things go rocky at the house, but it's kind of a start. Not everyone gets the same hand. That's what really sucks about life, and it's so random. It's like you don't choose your parents. You don't choose your parents. You don't choose your beginning cards. You don't choose your hand.
I mean, that's actually one of the things I kind of put into the introduction. There is you know what? Just because things suck, if you get out, then good for you, man.
Right.
You can always find redemption in what you do with the rest of your life.
That's right. You can. You have to keep on moving forward and living your life the best you can. All right.
And if you look at it this way, I've got a beautiful wife of over 20 years, 3 kids, a nice house that I own.
You survived Florida, and that's a plus. You survived Florida.
And I live exactly where I want to live, and I pretty much to a degree do what I want to do in life. And so if you look at it from starting there and ending up here, not bad.
Not bad at all. Okay. In what ways did that experience go into this book, A New Life?
I mean, it heavily. I mean, it's there's a lot of the hustling, the bad decision making, the things you wouldn't do, the desire to get out of and then also I hit on feeling like you don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
You get so down on yourself. Because, you walk around, society's already down on you.
Yeah.
And, you feel bad, you feel worn down, and then, when a chance comes to get out of it, you feel like you just don't even deserve it, because, there's no catch to... Anything where there's no catch to feels untrustworthy.
No, and let me ask you, too. I don't want to spend too much time on this subject. There's plenty to talk about tonight. But I'm very curious. I don't really get this opportunity all the time to ask, really, when you're down on your luck like that, and life is that for you, you're on the streets and you're surviving. Those, I guess it depends on what city, what area you're in, but some cities, they have like a social services and things like that. Are those things helpful? Are they not really there? Or are they few and far between? Are they only really helpful for, not to not to be that guy, but for women, I know there's more women shelters than there are like men shelters. What?
There's all kinds of barriers. First off, even finding the places is asinine difficult, and then a lot of them they put in barriers. Like a lot of places like have religious tie-ins, and they want you to, they think the reason that you're there is not enough Jesus or not enough something, or whatever the soma they're pushing.
Yeah.
So no, really, like the closest thing you really get to services is who's running a soup kitchen that doesn't have a prayer circle involved in it. It's usually the Krishnas. And that is some awful coffee, but man, it's free.
Yeah. I wonder if I was thinking right now, those stupid timeshare gathering things, they always try to rope you in there, but no, you'd first have to they would have to think that you have potential to first go in there, be someone that they could sell something to, because they always have free coffee and free stuff there. It's just a waste of time. But I wonder if you could raid one of those places. You can sneak in.
I think you'd have to actually look like you'd be a serious purchaser.
Right.
I think that that's actually part of it. Is like a lot of places won't even let you in the door if even if you have business there, they won't let you in if you look run down enough.
All right, and now while A New Life takes place a lot on the streets, it's not just about the street life. There's from understand there's like a horror element or a supernatural, no, a paranormal element.
Well, it actually goes pretty Clive Barker to the second half of the book.
All right.
I mean, it goes, Haitian witch doctors.
Nice.
Lots of gore at the back end.
I like that. Okay.
And that's actually kind of a step out for me. I think almost I wanted to finish one part of it and end with another part as almost that was cleansing, because I usually don't really write a lot of gore, but in this case, bloody it is.
Bloody it is. Okay. And to give us a little tease, what's something that really stands out about that book? Like a particular scene or a certain situation?
Actually, it's funny. The scene that stands out to me the most, in my mind, is neither nor. It's a scene in the middle where it just shows the average kindness of people, which in there's just this random woman and she's insanely nice, and there's always somebody like that you run into even on the streets, and it's just this little bridge scene, and for some reason it sticks with me because it's it's just this nice little reminder that the world doesn't suck.
That's nice. Something positive.
Well, yeah, I mean it goes from street hustling to fighting for your life against a resurrected drug dealer.
Whoa, a resurrected drug dealer.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
And just right in the middle of it is this nice little African American lady who's just sweet as pie, and it's just for some reason that's the scene that stands out to me.
Well, that's good. I like that. A little nice home right there. Okay. Now this resurrected drug dealer, what brought him back to life? Was cocaine and PCP or something?
No, in this case it would be Haitian voodoo magic.
Okay. Now, did you have to do any research or anything about the Haitian voodoo?
Actually, I did some research because I really needed to get the timelines right of who ruled where and when in Haiti at the time. And the funny thing is there's a large Haitian community in both Philly, New York, and those guys always get a little bit more street cred because, well, I promise you, everybody on the block seen Serpent in the Rainbow.
All right, that's cool. I I wasn't aware that they had a presence in the street, but they do.
Yeah, no. Don't mess with Haitians. That is a battle cry that has made many people retreat.
Ooh, no, don't. Okay, they'll fuck you up, huh? They'll give you curses. What happens?
You know, I have never messed with Haitians to the point of finding out specifically, but it's hinted at.
Well, I guess it's good you didn't find out. Otherwise, you might not be here tonight. All right.
But yeah, if you hear like a drug gang that's like Haitian, like that's a no go. Stay away from because they're serious.
All right. I'll take note of that. Hell, my white ass has to make sure I don't get in trouble. I try not to get into those sort of situations. Though when I was a kid, I was once. I had a car wreck in kind of near the Third Ward in Houston. Kind of weird, a weird time, but survived. So let's talk about the Gator King real fast, Gator King. Sorry, I'm thinking Tiger King, Gator King. But
You got Gator. It on your mind.
It's
you
Gator.
Got it,
I know it's infected me. It is. But there needs to be a Gator King, by the way. After this Netflix Tiger King thing dies down, they need to come out with a Gator King. I want to see that.
There are probably a dozen contenders in Florida right now because there are numerous. That's the weirdest part about Florida is like the old dead highways that like used to be the major thoroughfares before all the turnpikes went in. All those weird attractions are still there to some degree. So you've got like, you know, all these like weird like signs for like, you know, gator attractions, oddity museums. Weird. I mean, yeah, because like I lived in Jacksonville, but I cave, which, you know, spelunk, but I cave. We, you know, cavers actually have an old joke. Cavers rescue spelunkers. But the only dry caves that, like, you know, I knew of in the state are over near Gainesville. So I'd have to drive through the state on a semi-regular basis. And going down that highway through Stark and Baldwin and Lottie, man, that is interesting.
Oh, all sorts of stuff to see? Like all sorts of attractions? Like, or are we talking about like animals?
People watching.
People watching.
Yeah, because you know, people tend to think of Florida until the advent of Florida Man stories. People always tended to think of Florida as here's Disney, here's Miami, there's nothing else.
Yeah,
and all Florida Man stories have really just ripped the lid off that and shown the rest of the state for its weird self.
Mm-hmm. It is a very strange place. Now, don't get me wrong. Texas has a lot of crazy too. Texas has a plenty buttload of crazy, but there's something about Florida. I don't know if it's the heat or the salty air. I don't even know if the air is salty. I'm just assuming because of all the beaches. But the Florida stories are crazy. The Florida Man stories.
It's a weird place to live. I mean, you know, Jacksonville itself is, you know, I'm sure there's somebody out there that likes that city. I'm sure there is.
Someone who likes Jacksonville. They have a football team, right? Someone likes Jacksonville.
Well, actually, they don't really like their football team.
Who does?
No, that's I've been waiting for that franchise to leave since it got there, because Jacksonville's a college football town.
Yeah.
So they could care less about the NFL.
True. Okay.
You know, so like the NFL is there and they don't like, it's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, I have clients, so I guess we'll get season tickets and I'll write it off, you know, but like nobody like is really into the Jaguars there. You know, they're into the Gators, they're into the Seminoles, but the Jaguars, no. I mean, it's the same problem in baseball, like with Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody there is a Yankees fan because the Yankees had their spring training,
right?
Well, no, the Yankees had their spring training there every year, and they had one of the farm teams there for forever. So everybody in the city is a Yankees fan. So the Devil Rays, nobody cares.
Now, the one thing, Florida, another thing about Florida, its cash crop is meth. And that's something that ties into your book, Cult of the Gator God, because there's some, actually, just tell us about the book. Give us a little rundown about Cult of the Gator God.
Well, it starts off, and actually, it's one of the few times I've gotten to use my diplomas. Yay!
Look at that.
Yeah, I have diplomas in ecology and environmental science, and usually here in West Virginia, where like the environment is treated like our bitch, I never get to actually use it. But in this case, it's an environmental lawyer who gets forced due to office politics to take over the Jacksonville office, and he rapidly discovers all the things I discovered about Jacksonville.
Wait, time out. This is a personal story. This is based on a personal story.
Well, the parts of it are.
Okay, because I did skim through this one, and it was quite wild. But yes.
Yeah, parts of those, some of those jokes aren't actually jokes.
Oh shit, that's even better.
Some of those are actual life experiences. The down home smoky flavored barbecue flavored pizza, our first pizza in Jacksonville. I almost screamed. No, actually, if my wife would correct me, I did scream, and I basically informed anyone who would listen that those people were animals.
Okay. So what do they do to a pizza over there? How hard is it to make a pizza?
They smoked it, like barbecue smoked it.
What are we talking? Well, like is this like a Domino's pizza or like a Pizza Hut pizza?
No. This was like a restaurant, like a pizza restaurant we ordered from. And it's like, okay, so I expect a pizza.
Yeah,
simple. And I'll even admit I've lived in New York. I'm from Philly. I have high expectations, and I'm going to really, really lower that bar because that's only fair.
Yeah, I've never been to New York, but I still have. I don't want my pizza smoked. I don't want smoky flavor in my pizza. That's the last thing I want. Or pineapple.
I am to understand that some people like that. Some people like anything.
Yeah, animals, savages.
But yeah, and then we get this pizza from this restaurant. We open it up and we're like all happy, yay, pizza. And I take one bite and I'm like, what the? They smoked our pizza. They goddamn barbecue smoked, goddamn down home flavored our pizza. Freaking animal.
Oh man, so when you bit into it, like the cheese and the sauce, it was all smoky, huh?
Yeah, no, it really it tasted like, like that aftertaste from brisket.
Not good. Not good. But that was, I bet that was that a staple over there? Was that considered a main thing?
The place got great ratings.
Never mind. I'll just take a Domino's pizza over that crap.
I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't think we trusted another pizza the entire time we lived there.
But even the Papa John's would have been tainted, or the Pizza Hut. Hell, I would take Little Caesars over that crap.
It's like at that point it became, I don't trust these bastards. No. No. I'm not going to trust them. There was a really good Indian place like right down the road from us. So,
well, that's good. That's good. Indian food. I only had a few bites of that, a few dishes. I dated this Indian girl once, and it was like it was a contest. She was like, her food is spicy. It's like, really? Show me. So I just kept on eating this stuff. It was really bad, but I just kept on, and like not bad, but bad spicy. It was really good, actually. I don't remember what she called it at all. But it led to an embarrassing moment in the bathroom, in her bathroom, because my ass wanted to just keep on. Yeah, I'm not afraid of spice. Yeah, I'll do it right here. I'll press your family. Excuse me, I have to go use the restroom. And I was crying. was crying. I
Yeah,
was like,
no. When I have Indian, I usually down a couple of Prilosec before I even walk in the door because I know.
You have to. That's a smart way to do it.
Hell's yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right.
But
So this book is based on a real life experience, essentially, kind of, sort of. And I read part of it. It's funny. I like the comedic tone of it. It's very different from A New Life. And I was skimming through that. I was like, wait, the tone is very different, which is good. And the fact that you're able to do that, that's a skill right there. But the little jokes. One moment that's coming to mind right now is where the guy was about to take a swim, and the gator went in. He's like, "Fuck that shit." He hopped out of there. The way you described it, it was like he ran so fast. I don't know.
No. I love doing horror comedy. It's just the books are a lot of work because revisions on a normal piece is just kind of fixing stuff, getting your wording right.
Mm-hmm.
Revisions on a horror comedy is like every time you go through, you're adding jokes.
Yeah. And you got to make sure the jokes land, and you don't really know, like you can't really read the room, right? So you're just hoping, all right, are they gonna like this or not like it?
Yeah, there's no laugh track. You just gotta go. Well, I think it's funny, so. And even then, you've got to like keep in mind that like not everything you think is funny, everybody thinks is funny.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where you like in this particular book, I like how it shifted. It used a lot of the. It described the situations kind of like you wouldn't believe this, blah blah. Like the narrator was talking to you. So that was kind of cool.
Actually, I find that's like the easiest way to set jokes. I mean, because like people that try to do horror comedy, a lot of times they end up doing like slapstick.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like slapstick doesn't land in a book. Like it just doesn't have that same pop, And it's like, so I try to avoid outright slapstick. Occasionally, you
have to be hyper, like exaggerative, but if you are, it's like almost completely unrealistic. But it has. But that I guess you got to find a balance in that. I don't know. That is.
Yeah, tough. I mean that's the thing. You got to keep the story moving, but at the same time, you got to work the jokes in. They can't. They can't be patter just for the sake of comedy. You got to kind of build them to your story.
Yep. And
it's time consuming. I mean, it really is. Which is probably why the first one was set in Philadelphia, where I'm from. The second one set in Jacksonville, where I've lived. And the third horror comedy that I'm working on, like, is almost ready, is set in West Virginia. Just because it's like, at least then I don't have to research as much of the other stuff. I can just write the story and worry about the jokes. And like, I know the jokes work for the area. Mm-hmm. Like I know they're plausible jokes to hit there. I can just like let my mind go and think of funny stuff.
Right. No,
where it's like,
wait. I was gonna ask, when you lived in Jacksonville, were there people that actually worshiped this gator god?
No, that one I totally made up.
Wait, are we sure? Because I would think that's a normal thing in Florida, that you kind of have to worship the gator god. Otherwise, you're not really Florida.
Actually, gators are sort of just something you get used to. I mean, to the point where, like, I used to mess with them.
Oh, shit.
Florida's also boring. Well, okay, from my perspective, because it's like I like hiking, I like waterfalls, I like like punk shows, and like Jacksonville almost never had punk shows. There's nothing uphill because it's almost all flat. There's caves there's a few dry ones, but they're like 2 hours away.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, for me, this was like basically things to do in town was the beach, which I can only do so much.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, Jacksonville has a great zoo.
A good soup. But you missed out you forgot the meth. What about the meth part?
I'm still married, which I probably would not be if I had discovered the meth part.
Yeah, that's good. That's why it was boring for you. You avoided the number one hazard, the number one the big destroyer of lives. That thing that stuff, man. That stuff will ruin you.
You know, it's funny. It's here too, and I mean, Oxy, the Oxy mess started and got. This is ground zero for Oxy.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing too. That, like, I kind of want drugs to be legal. You know, the libertarian part of me is like, let the drugs be legal. Just have it. Just have it. Why does it need to be criminalized? Why do you need to go to jail and go to prison?
You know, I think there's a reasonable middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where maybe we worry less about somebody holding
with weed, maybe.
Well, weed is the stupidest thing on earth.
Yeah.
You know, I've known a lot of stoners in my life, and unless they were like dealing hardcore, I've never actually worried about my safety around them.
Right. They're usually pretty chill.
You know, I mean, well, like when I lived in New York City, I lived in Alphabet City, which used to be one of the most notorious parts of the city. Well, we lived on the heroin weed block. Our block was pretty mellow.
It's gonna be. Unless someone really, unless someone really needs a heroin fix, but they wouldn't, I don't know if they would mug someone in that area. They might try to get something elsewhere or just sell themselves sexually.
I mean, there a few blocks north of there was where they dealt crack. Now that was some crazy shit.
Oh fuck, dude! I fully believe the conspiracy theory. I don't even think it's a conspiracy. I think it's proven that shit was put out there on purpose. That the government put that shit out there. I know. The CIA was selling that shit. They're getting that shit. Man.
Well, I've always pointed out that the easiest drug to get, the drug of choice, always seems to coincide with wherever we're really, really busy with our military or the CIA.
That makes sense. While opiates would make a comeback because of the Afghanistan and all that. But
in the 70s, heroin was very active, and guess what? Gee, we were active in Vietnam.
Yep.
And what do they have a lot of? Heroin makes a big comeback, and we're active in Afghanistan. What a coincidence! And
you know what
my
else
God,
too? Another theory: fentanyl is huge, right? That's coming from China, but we had a lot of business deals with China. Though I think a lot of that might change after this whole coronavirus. The first time that thing was said on the show tonight. But anyway, kind of. I
think a lot of things are going to change.
Yeah, we gotta learn from this. We can't just put everything in one country. We can't manufacture everything we do. There's no. Okay. Anyway, so you've never met a Floridian that actually worshipped the Gator King, Gator God.
No, I mean for Floridians, the gators are background noise.
So where did the Gator God come from?
I needed a cult, and as I was going, the first thing I decided was I needed a cult.
Okay.
And
cults are cool.
I just kind of thought about it, and I'm like, well, it's set in Florida.
Yeah.
Gators. It has to be gators. And actually, there's a scene in the book where, like, one of the native Floridians says, "Oh, that's not even the weirdest thing I've ever heard." And she runs down a list of cults she's heard, and it's like, that's not even the weirdest thing I've heard this week.
Scientology, being another weirder one.
I actually looked up a couple cults for that scene, and it's like ones that one believes that if you're fat, it's because God hates you.
Oh, what cult is that?
I'd have to look it up again, but there was an actual legitimate little cult where
the cult of fat shamers.
Basically, yeah. It's like if you're fat, it's because God specifically hates you.
Not because you ate too many cheeseburgers or ate too
No,
many
it's
extra large smoked pizza.
it's not because you happen to love cheese doodles. It's because God hates you.
God
And
hates fat asses. I want to see that
Yeah.
sign.
Maybe we can convince Westboro Baptist to start carrying those.
Right? Change up a little bit. Guys, stop it with the God hates. I can't even say the word on YouTube. God, but
Yeah, no, don't.
yeah, yeah, don't.
But the one nice thing is that Westboro Baptist absolutely fervently hates West Virginia. They hate our guts because every time they've come here, they have gotten run out really badly.
Cool.
It has never gone well for them. Like I actually went to counter protest them once, and they put them in protective custody.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And in this case, the police were absolutely right because they were going to protest a miner's funeral, and it was like in a bowl, like a little hollow in the mountains, and it was around hunting season too.
Oh, wow. An accident could have happened at any time.
Oh, I think the only accident would have been if somebody actually shot somebody across the hollow by accident. That would have been the accident.
Yeah, maybe they need to be in protective custody. Ah, shit. Okay.
But yeah, we're actually proud of that. Like every time Westboro Baptist has come here, it has ended very, very badly.
That's good. You know what? They exercise their First Amendment. You exercise yours, and as hopefully no one gets hurt. You just challenge what they challenge. You challenge what they present, and they get chased off. There you go.
Well, I look at free speech sort of like this. Would you go into a bad neighborhood and say, "Buh"? Well, no, because I'd get my ass kicked at best. Right. So
Yep.
if you go out in public and say, "Buh,"
What was that Die Hard where where you started off with a sign that says, shit, what the fuck did it say?
oh my God, I
Some-
remember the scene. I can't remember it.
Something.
But
of
yeah.
course it had an N-word on there. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is the first fucking scene in the movie. Was that Die Hard? No, it wasn't Die Hard 3, was it? No, I don't remember. It was so long. Anyway. A lot of digression on the show. That's what we do. Anyway, so the Gator God isn't based on anything really, but it is funny in the book what it does. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the god itself is actually smarter than most of the worshippers, which good for the god, and has actually set the worshippers up to be incredibly wealthy without knowing much. And basically at some point they realize that the waters are being polluted heavily, and that's when they hire our hero to find out what's going on and sue the hell out of whoever it is, but it never makes it to court.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Well, it does eventually after the fires go out.
Okay, so wait. So this Gator God will bless your life, give you all sorts of riches. You just have to give it love. You have to pet a gator, to play with a gator, give blood to the gator.
Pretty much so. Worship the gator and make sure that cows find its way to the sacred cave
Okay.
on a regular basis.
Feed it cows. Gotcha. Now, can you eat fried gator and be a servant or a member of the Gator God?
I do not think that would be allowed. I think that's I think that's an excommunication.
Gator Jesus comes and gets you or something. I don't know. Shit. Is there a Gator Jesus in this book? I didn't really make it that far.
No, there is no Gator Jesus. There are the cultists, and they are actual rural Floridians.
If this book takes off and it becomes like a sort of cult following sort of thing, I wonder if you could do a Gator Jesus thing. I don't know. Now this thing is in like beta reading. Like you have ARCs going out, right?
It's past beta reading. We're into ARCs now.
Okay.
It's date set. It's locked and loaded.
Okay, locked and loaded. When is it coming out?
Assuming everything does not go insane with Amazon, which for everybody right now I think is a huge assumption. It's going to be out on April 28th.
Yeah, about that, I continue to operate business as normal, though kind of pushing ebooks more than paperback. Though I've been noticing that I'm still selling paperbacks every now and then, and my readership, or my reader page reads have gone up, and ebook sales have gone up. So I was like, okay, but
well, I think, and I'm not sure on this, is since the books are made in Kentucky, I think they just ship right from Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I asked one of my other authors, Tony Evans. It's like, wait. Is your book printed in China? He's like, no. Have you seen this stuff? It's like, normally I don't. Normally, like, I just ship it to you and everything looks fine. But usually those books are printed here in the U.S., so it shouldn't affect the actual print of the books or anything like that.
The big thing right now is the warehousing, and I don't think they so much as touch the books. I don't think they ever get into the Amazon warehouses. I think they ship right from Kentucky. Because if you think about it, like in that kind of business, like why put an extra step in of putting it to the warehouse when you can just ship it right from the printer? Right.
A lot of those books are print on demand, and it takes a little while, and then they print it out and they put it out. I've never had a problem with a book printed through KDP or Amazon. They always come out fine as long as you have a pretty good system to check it. But yeah, I never had a problem with that. And hopefully with this whole COVID-19 thing, this coronavirus thing, hopefully it doesn't cause any other issues. But yeah,
right now my publisher is worried about will we be able to get anything out through Amazon? And so far it doesn't seem to be a problem.
That's good.
And that's a legit worry, because when I sell a book through Amazon, as much as I tell people to support their local bookstores, I will admit I do make $1 more a copy.
Yeah. I had a guest on the other night that was against Amazon, and I totally understand her position. It's like, yeah, I get you. You don't want to support Jeff Bezos, all that. I get you. You want to support the little guy, and she does. In her defense, she makes more money elsewhere than she does on Amazon. In my experience, I always made more money on Amazon than anywhere else. I was like, well, I guess that holds true for you, and that's good. Keep on doing it. I always made more through Amazon,
Yeah, no. I get my statements, and I make about $1 more a book if it goes out through Amazon than I do if it if Barnes and Noble or Target sells it. But you know what? Every sale counts.
Every sale does count. It does. It's very important. The thing that's going to slow the roll, of course, any sort of book conventions or.
Yeah, I've black gallows humor about it. Well, at least this time I don't have to do any signings.
Right. Oh, are you worried about people even having money to buy the books?
That's you got to say that's the one nice thing about Kindle. Mm-hmm. It's a lot cheaper. So if people are tightening up, and God, who knows what's going to happen with unemployment? At least that's still a reasonable. It's a couple of bucks. It's not a $17 paperback in the store.
Mm-hmm.
It's. Right now everybody seems to be pulling together pretty good to keep a lot of businesses afloat. Their people are having to apply for unemployment, but they're trying to keep the actual business. So when all this stops, the business will still be there.
Right.
And hopefully that just keeps holding up. I think that's what everybody's hoping for right now.
And I suppose it really depends on what region you are in, what state you're in. What the sort of jobs really help the local economy. Over here, it's oil, and it's anything construction. I live near Houston, so if you're doing construction, you're doing it right. If you're in oil, you're doing it right. Although not now, and that's not even related to Corona. That's related to Saudi and
that's the Saudi and Russians getting into a fight.
Oh my God, that had nothing. that fucked things up. But all right. But I was gonna say is
one of our industries is definitely going to hurt. We're a big tourism state, and that's murder for us.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
I mean, thankfully, there is still coal, which in some ways I that's a good thing now, but I kind of wish there wasn't.
Yeah, it's kind of a love-hate thing. I think the main reason to keep that was to keep the jobs. The jobs are important. It's good to have people make money to earn for their family, even though it's like, do you really need that? You don't really need that. But I tell the people who have that job they don't need that,
Well, the thing is in like the heavy duty coal communities, there's nothing else.
Right.
I think just about any. That's one thing I try to tell people. It's like, look, it's not that like anybody really enjoys being a coal miner. It's just there's no other job there. You put in like a decent other kind of job in McDowell County. Well, everybody's going to go work there.
Yeah, and it's not as simple. I know some people like, well, why don't they learn a new skill or like learn to code? That little phrase. It's not that easy. These coal miners aren't going to learn HTML overnight, or usually not even at all, to then just shift their job. They kind of it's kind of sad, but they kind of become dependent on that profession.
Well, that this is the hate part of the relationship is the coal barons have pretty much so set it up that way.
Yeah, that's true. In a way, in this area, oil and gas is a huge part. That's not going to go away for a long time. But with lower prices, it means it's not all that demand. So, there's plenty of demand, but shit ton of supply. So it's like they're out of work a little bit. Hours are cut.
Yeah, and that's the one thing they tell you if you're going to go work in the mines here is, you may be making a boatload of money now.
Yep.
Don't spend it. Don't spend it because you can't count on it. So you're going to want that in lean times.
You know what? You could take that advice with book sales too. I don't know about you, but I never had it to where my book sales actually paid my personal bills. It kind of sort of keeps Dead Man's Tomb afloat, though I still put my own personal money in it. I have to, otherwise it would just the website would be, there would be no website. But it's good to save the money. You got to save it.
Yeah, most get rich quick stories end with and then got poor quick.
Yeah, right. And it's funny. I say save the money. I'm over here smoking cigars, drinking liquor, drinking liquor, trying to keep my body all alcohol, keep that Corona out of my system. I'm going for the Jim Leahy approach. I'm going to become the liquor. Becoming the liquor. Are you a fan of the Trailer Park Boys? No? It's okay.
I've never watched the show. I've seen a billion memes of it, but
I don't know if it's because my personal job, what I do, or maybe there's something messed up inside me. Could be that. I don't know. A kind of mock reality show about a trailer park. I know it's set in Canada, but it's still a trailer park. Yeah, that appealed to me. I was like, fucking A, I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to have a fucking tall boy, and I'm getting drunk watching this shit. I'm going to watch these fucking trailer park guys do stupid shit. I don't know.
I don't really watch a lot of shows. It's just it's the time, Yeah. It's the time to devote to a show. I think I'm still watching Walking Dead, but that's just because that's becomes obstinance on my part. I've put so much time into the stupid show. I am going to see how this ends.
Oh, that means I can ask you. So wait, the show's still going even though Rick is gone?
Yeah. Yeah,
is Maggie still there?
No, Maggie's gone too.
Then what's the fucking show? No offense, but what's the show? Who's there?
Michonne, Daryl, of course, which is funny because the character that wasn't in the comic books has outlasted everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Carol's there. Negan's still there. Yeah, they're kind of wrapping up the Whisperers now, which I mean, it's not bad. They've got new writers. It's actually improved a little bit, but like it's not nearly the show it was when it first came out. And it was like, wow, you know. And but I mean, it's watchable, and it's, you know, one show a week, so I got an hour to kill.
Okay. Now, one question. There's two questions I always ask all my guests. One, what is your favorite horror movie? I think I asked you this last time on the.
You know, and I'm probably going to give the same answer, and
That's
it's
okay.
like narrow it down to a genre, my good man, because I can go like, okay, like they used to have these tabletop books of like, you know, like pictorial
Tabletop?
books.
Like
Yeah,
Warhammer?
like, well, no, like they used to call these tabletop books where like you leave them out on your book table for people to page through.
Oh.
And they used to have some on horror, and like when I was a kid, man, I took all of those out from the library, and I was just like, I'm going to watch that film, and I'm going to watch that film, and I'd like read about all these different films. So like I can go from, you know, Georges Méliès all the way up to The Terrifier without any problem. So I mean, there's like this huge, you know, over 100 years worth of horror films.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. Favorite slasher? Do you have a favorite slasher?
Right now, it is The Terrifier. I love Art the Clown. He's great.
The Terrifier. The Terrifier.
Terrifier is Art the Clown. It's the first one was All Hallows Eve, which is actually a creepier film, and then The Terrifier. It's Art the Clown, and man, I love those films. They are great. I mean, I suppose I could and should say something like, you know, like go old school and go deranged, or the original Texas Chainsaw, but I really do. I don't think I've bought many slasher flicks, and I bought Terrifier.
Well, the Clown and Terrifier is fucking terrifying. Not to be, you know, cheap on the words there, but holy hell!
Like the way he just uses facial expressions and just, you know, like that he's always toying with people. I love the way that movie flows.
And Texas Chainsaw, that's pretty good too. Oh man, and a lot of people thought that was some real stuff, like a real documentary, because the footage it looked real.
That to a degree, I think the guys from Blair Witch probably saw that and went, you know what, I got an idea.
Yeah, you know, that was the first. I don't know, was that the first found footage movie?
Well, there's an argument between two films, Blair Witch and The Last Broadcast. They were both made and came out roughly the same time. And one of them kind of changed the genre. The other one, I almost punched the director. And I have to explain that.
You wanted to punch the director?
No,
for Blair Witch.
No, last Broadcast.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. How bad is that?
It's first off, it's okay. First off, it's way too long.
Oh, 2 hours.
They don't. It might not be, but it feels like 3 because they don't cut anything. Like there's a lot of stuff that should have hit the cutting room floor. You know, where they're thinking everything they're doing is golden, and then the biggest sin is they broke format. At the end of the film, they break format. They wussed on their own idea. They put it over to third person, regular film format at the very end to tag on this ending, and it just ruined the film.
Oh, why did they do that? You had something going.
Yeah, no, it's like, you know, I could almost forgive the lack of editing. I could forgive the fact that, like, okay, it's amateurish, but these guys made this one, like, no money whatsoever.
It's weird because Blair Witch is amateurish, too. You know?
Well, the funny thing is about Blair Witch is it really does look like, if you've ever had a friend who's taking film in college, it looks like one of their projects.
Right.
You know, it really does. It feels like one of their projects. You know, where, like, on top of it, like, they get their friends to play older adults in Last Broadcast, like they're serious journalists and stuff, and it just, like, I could have forgiven any of that as long as you stuck with the idea, like, that this is all found footage. But then, like, breaking like that and doing the ending Unfortunately, I saw it at a special screening where the director was, so I had to walk right by the director. So
And you
I'm
resist
like,
punching them. You resist punching them.
I'm twitching angry because I've just spent a long time in there getting increasingly annoyed, and then they drop that bomb on me, and the director is right there. And so was my girlfriend, now my wife, and I just ran the math, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna have a cigarette. I'm just gonna. I'll start yelling once I get outside.
Okay. All right.
But she said, like, she was watching him as I walked by, and he could tell that I was beyond pissed off.
You made me watch this crap. You made me watch this crap. I can't believe this. That change of format, man. Even if that was like a mainstream, popular Hollywood blockbuster, that would still be a huge sin. People would be ripping on that.
Well, yeah. Once you commit to something like that, commit.
It's that and convoluted stories that make no sense, like what they've been doing with Star Wars and all that stuff. Ah, god damn it. It's just. But yeah. All right. So I won't. I don't know if I want to watch Last Broadcast.
I would avoid it at all possible. Like when, like I'm in a couple of horror groups, like horror movie groups. Well, actually, I run a couple of pages too. Sweet. But like, whenever the question comes up, worst horror movie ever, boom, that's my answer. That is always my answer.
See, I thought it was going to be Birdemic, but this is worse than Birdemic.
Let me put it this way. I own a copy of Zombie Ass, and I think it's the funniest film on earth.
Zombie Ass. I watched that the other day. Not the other day, but Zombie Ass, that's the Japanese movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that movie's cool. That movie's pretty fucking cool. You get some tits, you get some ass. It's weird.
I think it's funny as hell.
It is hilarious. I wanted to watch it live. Of course, you can't do that because of copyrighted material. And the stream kept on getting like taken down over and over. I was like, fuck, I can't get this. But you have these guys walking with their assholes out. Come on.
I describe it as they out-traumaed trauma.
They did, but that's the Japanese for you. They could out-trauma. They did.
He has another film, and I'm dying to see it, called Dead Sushi.
Okay, it's
about killer sushi, and I need to see that film.
You know what? I was thinking, what movie am I going to review next? On the Monday streams, I do like movie reviews and stuff. I was like, man, what am I going to do? I've been watching a lot of stuff lately. But you know what? I might do a movie. I might review Zombie Ass. I might. You know what? That deserves
more people need.
Yeah.
I think more people need to know about that film.
I'll tell you what. It would definitely pass the Bob Briggs rating for movie reviews. It definitely would. You got bodies, you got blood, and you got boobs.
And you know what? Anybody who is a fan of Class of Nukem High who has not seen this film is really missing out.
Class of Nukem High. You couldn't do that today. Holy shit. That movie was fucking wild. I think I watched the second one, and they had fucking just the classmates. He had blackface, all sorts of shit going on there. I'm like, this movie is out of fucking control, but goddamn, it's funny.
Like, you definitely couldn't do Surf Nazis Must Die anymore.
Oh, but actually, you know what? With coronavirus eradicating Hollywood, maybe there will be a day where you could, and it would be satirical and not taken in another way. I don't know.
Actually, it's funny. Increasingly, I watch fewer and fewer films from Hollywood all the time. Like most of the horror films I watch are foreign and, or like something. Really, or like little indie films. Because, like, dude, I don't need a reboot, a sequel. Sequel of a reboot, a rebooted sequel. Things. It's like, and a lot of times, what made that film really great at the time was just a weird moment that you can't recreate.
Okay, I have an idea. So I know you talked about the bonus show. What if we did, instead of doing like Have You Never, just drinking games? Because I don't know if you're a drinker. Are you a drinker?
Not particularly anymore.
And I always do drunk stuff. I'll still be drunk for this. But we could talk about like horrible Hollywood horror movies. And we could have fun doing that. Remixes and all that stuff. Ooh. Okay. You up for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this. Hey, we've got someone in the chat. Horror films are all shitty stuff about dolls now. Yeah, horror films are all shitty stuff about dolls now. Let me tell you, I am kind of sort of, there was a point in my time in life where I was afraid of dolls. But I'm not afraid of dolls anymore because I'm a dad. And it's stupid.
Yeah, that would
why am I going to be afraid of my little girl's toys? Why am I going to be afraid of them?
That would be hard. I mean,
you know what?
Being a dad and being afraid of dolls.
Why isn't there a horror Lego movie? I want to see that. Because what's real is stepping on the fucking Legos late at night and walking into your kid's room. God damn, that needs to be a fucking horror movie. Why isn't that there?
No, not even your kid's room. The living room that you thought you cleaned up.
Please don't fucking clean up their mess.
You thought you cleaned up after them. You've gotten all of them. You've got the lights off, and you're just going around checking the doors and everything, and bam.
Yep. Every fucking time. You find Legos on the floor, find Legos on the couch, find Legos in your car. God damn it. He took one for the road, didn't he? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this. Hey, Cool Tactic in the chat. How's it going? All right, so we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to do a bonus show for the patrons. And you have a good one.